It's pretty funny that we're crossing the tail of our USBL tracking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just kind of arbitrarily set how long it stuck around,
Yeah.
and I believe I put 10,000 seconds.
Yeah,
so.
I've seen, yeah.
So that's about, what, a little over 8 hours of track.
Eight, yeah, because it's like about, yeah, it's exactly
Just
two
two
lines that are about
lines.
4 hours each. So
So,
yeah, it's about 8 hours.
Oh, that's a pretty easy calculation.
That's a while, yeah.
Are you at 60 targets now?
Nope, we're still at 58.
58.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so 58 targets. Thank you for following us all day long, and good night to you. Rest well, and we hope we have some news for you tomorrow.
I mean, there will be news. Don't know, good, bad, otherwise. It will be news.
News, for sure. Yeah. Thanks to the people in Vietnam for following us. So nice to see your flag and the little light that the map shows where you are.
Xin chào.
Slack, and I didn't get bingo out.
Are you ready to discuss something serious, or no?
With who? All of us?
Yeah, or should we just keep it chill until later on?
I mean, do people have questions?
No. Okay, we have a question. Perfect. I was going to share with you some of the discussions that I've been part of these last days, and I wanted to hear your thoughts. Anyways, so people are asking about how big is the area of the new grid or the new search area. Is that the same as the previous one? As big as the previous one?
No. So yeah, we have HiPAC and quad view. It's a little hard to tell because the colors are very similar. But if you look in quad view, there is the red highlighted line with the arrows. That's the line we're headed towards right now. And then below it are lines parallel, green lines. And then you can see all our targets up further north. So we just did a couple lines to the west of our original search area, and now we're going south, being the area that is believed to potentially have been the source of a lot of the debris.
Size-wise, though, we started looking at an area that was about 2 nautical miles by 2 nautical miles. And we extended to the west and to the south, and that added about a little bit less than double that.
Yeah.
We're not sure how much of that in total we're going to get done by the end, but we're looking at maybe a 15 or 16 square nautical mile area by the time we're done, if we filled all that in, which we may not. So something in that range, 10 to 15 square miles.
Cool.
Are there any more questions from the internet?
What was that?
Yes, if there were other questions.
Oh, right now, no.
It's too bad. Yeah, I'm usually good for one per season. But
Somebody, I think, had one before we started that.
Yeah. Kind of.
So we have a question about, would we say that we have passed over the most likely spot for the wreck to be?
Well, we've passed over the spot of the location in the accident report from 1938. We knew that wasn't an exact position because it was some rounded numbers. But we put the survey grid around it because that was the reported location, and certain witness accounts kind of put it in this general area as well. But we're now moving to the south and to the west because the surface swell that day of the crash was to the northeast, and so the oil plume and debris from the wreckage would have drifted to the north and to the east before they got out there. So we figured that going to the south and to the west would been most likely to find the origin of that.
Yeah. So far we have 58 targets, and from those, not all of those are I don't know, worth to dive into, right?
Correct.
The change of lines actually looking pretty good for with the wind too. It just shifted, so we'll be going just about right into it.
Great.
The current sea cucumber count is, Chris, how many do we have?
That has not been
We
updated
stopped
in a
at
while.
162. We
Oh.
haven't done probably
I
Okay.
two
haven't
watches.
noticed as many as we were seeing the other day, but we also
Yeah.
haven't been counting.
That's true.
So we're sorry
There's
to
a
let you
fish.
down, but
Mm-hmm.
it's
Does
a
it
very
count,
small
or
fish.
is it too small?
Yeah, it's way too small.
It
Yeah.
could be far away.
No. It's just no chance.
Goes in a bread box.
Can make it fit in a bread box.
You have to find it in the side scan.
That'd be crazy if we found like, you know, we're saying like you can tell it's in the water column if the shadow's detached from the object, but what if the object was like massive?
What do you mean?
Like it was something like massive
Well,
swimming in the water.
Part of it would have to be touching the seabed for it not to be connected. Like, for the shadow to not be connected.
I'm confused.
So we have a question about the witness.
Okay.
Do we think she was seeing the wings float on the surface with the fuselage suspended below for the 5-minute period? Or was the plane beyond the curvature of the horizon and she was able to see the fuselage floating on the surface from such a distance?
We don't really know. I mean, she reported being able to see the wings floating. We don't really know the context for that or where exactly it was. Obviously, if we knew the location of the wreckage, then we'd be able to kind of backtrack and say, oh, she observed this, but, you know, we don't really know that.
Mm-hmm.
We just know what she reported.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And thank you all for all those amazing comments, thanking us for making science so accessible and promoting this sense of wonder and excitement. And we also thank you for being part of this amazing expedition, and because you also have that sense of curiosity, and you know you're part of this exciting adventure because you also get excited about these things.
Keeps us going.
So, Chris, what were you asking about the
Yeah,
shadow?
so speaking about wonder,
What are you wondering?
you said if an object is suspended in the water column,
Right.
the shadow will not be connected to the reflection.
Right.
So I was saying, like if there was something swimming in the water column, and it was like really large, the way we tell it's in the water column being that they're disconnected.
Yeah.
I just think it would be really cool if there was some, like we saw the bigger than a bread box on the sides.
Well, I mean, you can. What you're going to see, though, is the shadow of it projected further out to either the right or the left than
Yeah.
it. because the sound can go around it and hit things behind the object,
Right.
or below the object, I guess I should say. So regardless of the size of it, you're going to see a disconnect between you'll see the reflection of it. If it's in the water, if it gets right below Argus, you're going to see like a reflection within the nadir in the black area, and then you'll see the shadow projected. If it's further away, you'll see the return over the sediment, and then you'll see a disconnect, and then you'll see the shadow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Regardless of
I think we're on
size.
the same page.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I mean, I've seen, in much shallower water at a fairly low altitude, I've seen something that looks literally like a goldfish cracker as a shadow. It's like, oh, well, that was a fish.
Cool.
So I know there's a couple other ships that also do some sort of live streaming of their dives, right?
Yep. Yeah, Okeanos Explorer does it consistently, and with every operation, and other ships have done it sort of in certain circumstances. They've had the capability. So like Falco or Alucia, I think Atlantis did for a little bit. Endeavor's done it for a little bit, but it's for project-specific things. Whereas Okeanos and Nautilus do it nearly 100% of the time.
And thanks for joining us. We have a viewer that just found us on YouTube. So yeah, the Nautilus has been working on this for over 10 years, right, Mike?
What was that question? What's 10 years?
So the Nautilus has been doing expeditions for over a decade, right?
Yeah, so I was with Ballard at URI and with OET going back, with Ballard back to 2004, and OET started in 2008. We started using Nautilus in 2009. That was NA111 off of Turkey. So yeah, it's been 10 years.
10 years.
Yep.
That's great.
And 111 expeditions in that amount of time.
So yeah, welcome to Expedition NA111. We're in the search of the Pan American flying boat Samoan Clipper that crashed on January 11th, 1938. We've been scanning the area where it was reported to crash using a side scan sonar that you can see on channel 1 on our website. On channel 2 you can see what our ROV Argus camera is showing, which is the ocean floor in this region. Mostly volcanic rocks and some very few organisms have showed up. And then in the quad you can see the bathymetry of the place and some of the lines that we have explored so far.
I'm pretty proud of that turn right there.
Excellent. It looks good.
So yeah, next week the Nautilus will continue to visit unexplored regions of the National Marine Sanctuary here in American Samoa and Pacific Remote Islands Marine National Monument, and then back to the US to the West Coast to keep exploring. So we'll still have some expeditions to come, so keep in touch with us, stay tuned. And we have 58 targets so far. Not all of them are super promising, but we'll still have some time to keep exploring. And remember, we do have opportunities for students. You just have to go to our website, nautiluslive.org/education, and you'll find not only materials for if you're a teacher or if you have children at home and you want to explore with them some science, technology, engineering, math. With us, we have several materials there, but also there are some opportunities to be part of the next expeditions. So you, of course, can be part of this.
Highly suggested.
And you can also follow us on Facebook, Nautilus Live, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. I'm gonna go to have some dinner and I'll be back in a little bit. See you guys in a bit.
Bridge, nav. Request we hold position.
Oh.
Alright, we'll be holding position here for a little bit, checking the swing, and then starting on that line. Bearing 080.
Roger that. What made the decision to switch up? Were we done with that other line, or?
No, we hadn't got a full look at it, but it sounded like in terms of what we really wanted to get a look at and a promising area, we're going to do a line south, head up, look at that gap that we missed.
Oh yeah, the holiday.
Yeah, and then take a look at 30 and 31. Get some ground truthing.
Like with the camera, like with Argus.
Maybe at least just get a different angle on it.
Cool.
But if we went right over it, I'm sure they wouldn't be opposed. I think they want to get eyes on it.
About how far away from me?
From
the holiday and then from 30s. Those two 30 targets.
Not our watch. It won't be 4 to 8, I don't believe. But sometime within the next couple watches, they'll have gotten eyes on that.
Okay. Cool.
Well, this is very deja vu.
Yeah, welcome back, guys.
Yeah.
All over again.
Yeah.
Yes. Couldn't get enough.
Guest streamers.
So the question that came in about do we have a rank-based system for the targets, the answer to that is no, not really. It's just whatever the science team decides that are most attractive looking targets and what is the most pertinent for us to check out.
We have a rank in the science team.
Oh, you do?
Oh yeah, it basically goes, how much does this look like a rock?
Is that on a
And if
scale
the
from
answer
1
is
to
a
10?
lot,
Scale.
it's lower.
Scale from 1 to 10.
You got the Rochter scale?
The Rochter scale, I like it.
Are we currently, so we're not interested, so we finished
Peyton,
up
can
the
you
west
pull the
lights?
mic a little bit closer?
We
Kind of. We finished what we wanted to do.
Okay,
So now we're moving on to do south and then go north.
gotcha.
Thanks for the questions that just came in about the internship. I think to answer your question as easily as I can, you just need to kind of look at what you can and can't do in terms of your schedule and your coursework and talk to your professors and let them know what you're interested in doing and their thoughts on how that will advance your career, and then make the decision. There's no guarantee that you'll get in. However, you know, you miss 100 shots, 100% of the shots you don't take. So, you know, give it a shot. I never thought when I applied to be on the Nautilus the first time I would have been accepted, and I wasn't really sure if I'd get it, the lead communication fellow spot as well, but I did both times, and you never know. If it's something you're passionate about, I think you should do whatever you can to make sure you can pursue those passions. So if you're interested in marine biology and this is the type of work that you ultimately want to do when you get older, or when you further on down the path in your career, I think the more opportunities you can give yourself to experience that, so you can really truly know if that's something that you want to do, the better.
Brian, what was the full question?
Can you put your mic just a little bit closer, Peyton?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, no worries.
What was the full question, Brian?
This person put in a pretty detailed description that, you know, they might have some hurdles with the logistics of their coursework and some of the things, the requirement of their university, and whether it was fully worth pursuing the internship because it was something they're extremely interested in doing. And I mean, you fit a pretty similar mold because you are definitely passionate about what you do. I don't know if you have any thoughts that you might like to add.
Real quick, Renato, were you going to say something?
No.
Oh, okay, never mind.
He was going to give us a pretty detailed explanation. They're so good, we want more.
We give one detailed explanation. Branded for life.
We've got 4 or 5. They're all excellent.
Just read the back of the cereal box for you guys if you want.
That would be awesome.
I'm sure it'd be fantastic.
We can, we have the Simone Clipper notebook over here that you can read for us.
Oh, you guys have that notebook. I was looking for that.
It's up here. Do you want it?
Yes.
Okay, it's coming.
So
does that mean you or I are moving?
You can also apply for internships if you're a recent graduate. So if you need to wait until after your course, you could do it that way. And there's a couple people on board who applied and didn't get accepted to their roles the first time and applied again and got accepted the second time. So something to consider. Don't give up on the first try.
Wise words. So a question came in about how long does it take for us to make one of these turns, and it's not something that happens relatively quickly. If you've looked at Channel 3, the Nautilus and Argus are not right next to each other. So we have 3,000 some meters of cable out. So that can take definitely a few minutes for, at least for Marcus to catch up. For the question about how much area is left to cover, the simple answer to that is quite a bit. But I think the science team is making some decisions about hitting some of the areas they'd really like to take a look at, like filling in the gap in the sonar data, so the holiday we've referred to, as well as some of those targets. I believe the 30s, where we could potentially get eyes or at least another sonar profile from a different angle to determine whether it's something worth further pursuing.
I think we just passed by a giant larvation.
What?
So they're tunicates that spend their entire life in sort of the larval body plan. So they look like tadpoles, and they create this mucus net around them. It kind of looks like a big blob with like lobes in it. And then they basically beat their tails to move water through it and then collect all the food particles that are left over.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, they're super neat.
Was that a question you had when you were in Orca Bowl?
Maybe. I was looking into this a little bit ago too. Because normally tunicates are benthic, so they look like basically like a blob of like putty with 2 holes in it that are filter feeders. And so it's kind of unusual that like there are some that live their whole lives in that larval stage. That's why they're called larvaceans. But they're also part of the phylum Chordata, or actually I think it's not the phylum, but like in sort of the group that eventually makes up chordates, because in that larval stage they have like a notochord, sort of nerves as well, a lot of the things that distinguish chordates and like animals that eventually would give rise to backbones.
So the thought is that these are organisms that excuse me, were ancestors to vertebrates.
Yeah, or at least their population very early divided and had features that would eventually evolve into vertebrates. I guess, let me rephrase that one more time. They share a common ancestor with vertebrates.
Cladograms abound.
Oh, yeah.
So we've been getting this question quite a bit through the past couple of days, and it's about the wire or the cable that goes from the ship to Argus, and in turn also Hercules when Hercules is in the water. And that wire is incredibly strong, and I mean it is a steel cable, so we're not really concerned about anything biting through it. That's if an organism were able to do that, that's not an organism that we would know about or exists on Earth. So not anything that we're concerned about. The stress and tension that cable is able to withstand just to do what it does now is greater than anything an organism would be able to do biting into it. We can't really give you a definitive timeline in terms of how long it will take to complete that new search area. A while is about as good of a ballpark that I can give you. It's not something that would happen relatively quickly. On our previous 12 to 4 watch, it pretty much took us the entirety of that 4-hour watch to go through one of those lines. But you know, the science team may decide to change what they're doing. And
well, these lines are a bit shorter, aren't they? Just a tad.
Wait, do we change up? What are we doing? These are shorter than the, as long as the original survey.
Right, so
we doing holiday now?
We're doing a holiday?
We're doing the southern line. Sorry.
So did we skip the rest of the western lines?
Right now, we are doing the first southern line that we added to our expanded
Okay.
map.
I think I'm going to start. I'm impatient. I think it'll swing enough.
Rennie, I can't hear you.
I'm going to start the ship moving, I think, because I think we have diminishing returns waiting for Argus to catch up.
Okay.
Noted.
It'll swing in where we want it. I hope. I think.
We're set for the intercom settings for the watch we're relieving.
Oh, that makes sense.
Just not leaping
I'm
up there
quiet.
and adjusting everything for 12 bytes.
Bridge nav. We can proceed to track along the selected line bearing 080. Thank you.
Question about, do we ever pass any other ships while we're out at sea? And yeah, I mean, it just depends on where we're at in the
Depends on
traffic.
where we are. It's usually, I mean, when we're out in the open ocean, kind of rare to see another boat.
Yeah.
Wendy, I got impatient.
When we were in
So now we're
the
gonna
Gulf, you could see lots and lots of
I got
oil
impatient,
rigs.
Oil rigs
so
everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm going to start moving now.
It's like there's an amazing number of oil rigs in the Gulf of Mexico. I'm sure amazing is the right word. Startling?
Yeah, startling is a
And
good
seeing them
adjective
on
for
a
that.
chart is even worse. It looks like somebody did a shot of ink and did
Yeah.
a spit take on the paper.
I was expecting to see it be just dark enough where you could look up, see all the stars, and see the Milky
That's
Way,
up in
and
industry.
that was not.
Right.
That was not the case. The lights on those are so bright.
Yeah. Doing a quick zoom.
Reading minds, Ed.
Rock.
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 It almost looked like it had something wrapped around it.
Pretty
It's a
tiny.
blobfish
Oh,
rock.
there's in the center again.
Yeah, there were
Oh,
two of
coconut?
those
Just rock.
over to the side as well that were kind of light rocks.
It's really hard to shoot stuff with Argus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our whole watch this morning, we were looking for something that was not a rock, not a sea cucumber, and bigger than a bread box, and we failed.
I'm just
We
glad
needed
you
it to
still
win
use
bingo.
bread box as a reference. Gives me hope.
Nobody actually knows exactly what the size of a bread box is. I don't know why.
It's like
2 or
larger
3
than a
loaves
loaf
of bread.
That's what we
Right.
were
2 or
thinking.
3?
We're like 2 loaves of bread.
I don't know why we use those, because we don't anymore.
Sometimes you
Do you
just need
refrigerate
to.
your bread? I guess it depends on where you live. You live in Georgia. If I
We
do something
refrigerate our
completely-
bread. I've
Do you
never
leave your
done that
butter
before.
out, or do you have a butter bell, or do you put it in the fridge?
No, butter goes in the fridge.
Otherwise, you need a straw, huh?
Yeah, it's. We try to keep it in the 70s, like 72
Oh,
or
because
so
you
in
air
our house.
condition your house.
Yeah.
Like
Even
very, very, very few houses in the Northwest are air conditioned.
Yeah.
Oh.
If I left open all the windows, turn all the fans, it would not work.
Yeah.
We had a bunch of family over to my house in June, and our air conditioner upstairs went out, and it easily got up to mid to high 80s upstairs. And that was with 7 box fans and 4 ceiling fans going.
Wow. Ceiling fan sounds nice. Always enjoy those in the tropics.
The house we moved into actually had switches for all of them already there, but there were no ceiling fans. So we've just been installing them one at a time.
And how do you know which switch controls the ceiling fan?
There's a lot of trial and error involved.
Well, wait a minute. Summer's
Well, I'm
not
on
here. Never mind. Never mind. Wave off. Wave off. Go around.
You
go around.
You go around the corner, you flip them, and you walk in really quickly to see if you feel any air
They're
has
still
moved.
moving.
And then you feel the motor of the fan. The ship is actually going to stay in the Pacific this entire season. We're actually at our furthest point, so after this leg, along with the next one, we'll be staying in American Samoa, the National Marine Sanctuary of American Samoa, and then we'll start heading back.
We were in the Pacific last year and the year before that, plus the Sea of Cortez.
Yep.
I would still consider that Pacific, though.
Yeah. Question coming up on attaching Hercules. Yes, we do have to have Argus on deck in order for us to attach Hercules, and that's a bit of a timely process.
Yep.
But we would have to recover Argus, which would take us a couple hours to pull Argus up, a little bit of time to get Argus on deck. Only getting one ROV on board is much faster and simpler than doing both.
Yeah, kerplunk, there you go, done. But then it can take a while to reconnect them.
Yeah. So we wouldn't be doing that until we knew for sure there was something we wanted to dive on, because to put Hercules on and then take Hercules back off would take a good chunk of time, and we are going to be working until Friday night, Saturday morning?
Saturday morning, early, I think. I still say that if we could get 4 hours on this, we could get a lot.
Yeah.
We could get a lot.
We could.
Small aircraft, smallish aircraft.
The trick is finding it, and we are, if you've been following along with us this week, we have been doing everything we can to do so.
Yep. Nature of exploration, though.
Yep. Things don't quite work on the time frame you want them to, but doesn't mean it's still not worth doing. But keep sending in those questions. We enjoy answering them. We enjoy having an active conversation and being able to hear what you all think, answer the questions you have, learn a little bit more about you all as you learn about who we are and what we're doing.
You all. You mean yous guys?
Yous guys.
Yous guys.
How you guys? I didn't say y'all. I held off.
We're just finishing the transit.
I gotta reply to them.
Nope. Thanks for admiring our patience. You know, we go into these and we have no idea what's going to happen and when or how it's going to happen, and that's kind of the exciting part of it. You know, if ocean exploration wouldn't nearly be as fun if we already knew every single thing. So, being able to explore and see things for the first time, and especially be able to share it with you all at the exact same time we see and hear it, or just about as close as we can, is pretty important, pretty special, and exciting to us. So we're definitely worth putting in, or interested in putting in that time, and having to wait a little bit if that means we get to explore all those amazing things.
420 UTC.
So for a question coming in, if you're asking about the what you see in channel 1, that's the side scan sonar. So you're seeing the yellow band across and the blue band across, and those are two different frequencies and the returns we get. You can see our port and starboard sides. The yellow band goes in a bit higher definition, but not as far. The blue band goes not in as high definition, but goes further. And the line graphs you see above each one of those blue and yellow ribbons is the active measurement of the return that we are getting. So all this data goes on board, and then we have Dr. Mike Brennan, who I believe is running the software to clean up some of this image and interference.
Yes, sir.
And make even better choices in terms of what we'll do and investigate based off of that.
Is our line 080 pairing?
Slightly educated guesses.
Yeah, it is.
As well educated guesses as we can make.
Absolutely.
Mike, did I hear earlier that you have a couple targets of interest that you'd like to second look at?
Yeah, and we ran over them a second time the other night. I mean, I doubt that they're debris from Simone Clipper because there was nothing else in the area. And if you have a debris field, there's going to be more than one thing. But they are interesting. There was one that had like 3 little peaks in a way that had a strange shadow. And then right like 50 meters away in the same view of the sonar, but just on the other side channel, was something that had it's strange, like it would look like a right angle and maybe some sort of like pipe or something.
Yeah, one of the right angles.
Yeah, and it just looked weird, and it looked the same.
Both times we went over it?
Yeah, yeah. So I just, you know, they're next to each other. They're both interesting, and so just to ground truth the target, I think we're going to find that it's geology, but it'd be good to know before we leave the area kind of what they were. So it's always good to ground truth stuff. We're doing we're kind of ground truthing live with by having Argus on the bottom, so we know sort of what these rocky areas look like. So we've already kind of been doing that, but to kind of check ourselves on our target IDs, it's good to dive on some of the more strange targets that we got just to see.
Right.
But no, I mean, I don't want to get anyone's hopes up by saying, yeah, they're interesting targets in that they could be the Clipper. It's more that they're just unusual and we want to check them out. But I think if it were the crash site, we would have more debris than just these isolated targets.
And how about this holiday line we have to pick up? When you think of doing that last, or
which line?
The holiday.
Holiday. Yeah. No, we're on our way. So we're going to the east. Then we're going to go straight north and then pick up that line and fill it in.
Great.
So it'll probably happen on the next watch, and then at the end of that line, we're going to be pretty close to.
Bingo.
Pretty close to where those 2 targets are.
That'll be ours then. Flip to 4 again.
Don't know.
Maybe not.
Yeah, I paused, but we've seen a lot of stuff with these sorts of patterns. I think it's one of those lava flows that has those cracks with sediment involved, so you see you get kind of that strange geometry looking thing.
So a question about the side scan sonar, and then when it gets finished, this isn't the type of map that would be publicly available on Google Earth or anything like that. What you will see is eventually one day, the Okeanos Explorer 2 years ago actually mapped this area, and there's the 2030 project in terms of trying to map the entire seafloor. So one day you'll see the multi-beam of this area.
Well, they can actually see a little bit of it. It's in the HiPAC screen. That's what we're using as a base map right now.
So if that's channel 3 for everyone, where it's a bit of a zoomed in version, but as you see
Not for a moment.
There you go. Thank you. So that's the area that the Okeanos Explorer mapped for us, and they did that 2 years ago. So that's the difference between multi-beam and what you might zoom in and see a Google Earth. Just a much higher resolution, much greater detail, able to distinguish a lot more features, both geologic and otherwise. Not something you'd necessarily be able to pick out like the Simone Clipper, for example. It's way too small, but definitely much better in terms of comparing it to something on like Google Earth.
So Mike, did you guys give the EX the quad to map within the box, or did they?
So because Russ presented this at the Pacific Workshop in 2014, Yeah, it was a requested target, and Jim Delgado was at NOAA at the time, so they were able to get it to. Okeanos was in the region, so they were mapping off Samoa anyway. So they did I think it probably just took a couple of hours really to get this area mapped in as well.
Nice map.
Yeah, it's a great map, and it really helps because we're able to do sort of fine-scaled, close to the seabed survey that if we didn't know where there were seamounts and that sort of thing, or hills or rises, it would have been a lot harder to do. So it certainly was the first step in making this happen.
I think Rennie and I each individually know one of the mappers that was on for that leg. So
okay, yeah.
Thanks. Appreciate them for being great mapping.
So thanks for the question about why we wouldn't have Hercules in the water right now. And it just has to do with time. Argus, we cannot cover that same distance. Thank you. An area that oh, it is wet, yeah.
Is it from the old one?
That we could if we had Hercules attached.
Oh,
Maybe it came in
we
with.
know about that. Yeah, and the noise from Herc would throw off the side scan.
Yes. So doing this was the much more time-efficient manner to be able to get through the search area. Doing it with Hercules was just kind of out of the question. The stabilization of the video isn't really as important because, you know, we just need to make eye contact with it briefly to be able to fairly easy to distinguish whether it's wreckage or another rock or a fish or a sea cucumber in the water column. It's pretty easy to tell.
When you're editing ROV footage, though, you can run it like 85% and it looks a little bit smoother, and then you can use image stabilization and your choice of tools.
Ooh, hello, fishy.
Cordate.
Hello.
Final Cut Pro,
Smaller than a
Premiere,
bread box.
Avid, Mocha.
Yeah.
Name it.
So the computer can just
wait, who am I
enhance it?
Blackmagic DaVinci Resolve. Yeah, enhance.
It's chillier in here than I expected. I'm going to go grab my jacket. I'll be right
Yeah, I
back.
think it was the rain that did it.
Yeah, I think it cooled the whole thing off.
Do you want to start in the new line file before you
Yes,
leave?
you are very smart. Yeah, I'll start that.
Cool.
The rain is cooling me off.
Yes.
Oh, write that down. Next bingo card.
A question about whether we can tow Hercules without Argus, and I'm pretty sure we can't do that without quite a bit of modification. That's
Yeah,
not
we
something
can't
that
get
can
Herc in
happen.
the water without Argus. All the power step down, everything happens in Argus.
You know, and Mike, were you saying like our setup with Argus is part of the reason why Herc is so easy to drive in comparison to other ROVs?
Yeah, exactly. This is part of the feature of a two-body system such as this is that the Argus vehicle absorbs just about all the shock from the ship, so we get very, very clear imagery. Hercules doesn't move around very much, and that's probably the biggest part of it being able to be easily controlled, and on top of that, it's just a very good control system. But yes, Argus makes it easy.
I'm not getting any altitude again. Oh, there it goes.
Okay, I'm back.
It's still a little bit early, but I believe there's a group photo at 5:55 for those who can
So I
want to step
don't know
out
how
for
we're
that.
going to do that. We're on watch.
They said anyone who was available. So I don't know whether that means we go to like essential personnel only or if we just all stay here.
I have to stay here. I can't leave.
I'm not leaving, so.
I think I need to stay here.
Yeah.
What time
Yeah,
is the thing?
You're very
In like
essential.
20 minutes.
Yeah, 5:55. They're gathering.
It's also raining, so I don't know if they're still going to do it.
True.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, we can't lose our
It's a
assistant.
very
to the
important
Argus
job.
pilot. Just send him out there. They all canceled because of the rain. He didn't realize. Standing out there on the bow in the rain.
Assistant Go
Guys?
Scout.
Unfortunately, that's one of the few places we don't have a good camera to watch him.
Yeah, we have a lot of cameras out the back of the ship. Not a lot out the front. That's what we have the bridge watch standards for.
What did Miles say?
That's true. I guess that's kind of a self-realizing prophecy there. So, yeah, so Mike is saying we're filling in the getting called out by Miles for eating the beans because he saw the bingo square that said get called out by Miles for eating his beans.
Well, then that was part of your clever plan to not get called out.
That's right.
No, well now he knows.
Yeah.
Otherwise
Yeah,
he probably never would have known.
We did a bad job hiding it with him being a navigator and us putting it on the nav clipboard, but yeah, we will
Also talk about it on SPL all the time, and that's playing downstairs.
That's true. He was listening to me get dripped on and came up to help.
Yeah, but it depends on the time of watch, whether anyone's actually down there listening or not.
Yeah, it's true. I think that was a 4 to 8 in the morning, so I'm sure he was asleep. We will get to go over our first target again.
Yeah?
In side scan.
Which target?
The R1055-01.
Oh, yeah. I'm not too concerned about that one.
Yeah, no.
That was probably a test target. I don't think we actually recorded it anyway, because I think I forgot how to save targets.
Yeah, there was something in the notes about that, like the first 4 targets or something.
Yeah, I think I deleted all those by accident.
Oh.
Yeah,
So,
no, I don't imagine our first target was...
Yeah, I didn't even
anything
bring that
amazing.
line into process because we redid it, not intentionally, but we went over it with most of the turns anyway.